Let me start off by saying, when you hear some of the things I'm going to tell you today, we don't write the laws, we just enforce it, because some of the things you'll hear today are going to be kind of surprising to you. It might be like shock you a little bit here at the beginning. Let me start off. Grab those two for me. This is a AR-15 rifle that we all carry on duty in our units. And here's a pair of brass knuckles and a Bowie knife. Okay? If I went, or if anybody went to Walmart or HEB or some of the other businesses into one of your real estate offices, and which one of these three, if you were carrying one of these three, what do you think you would go to jail for? Or which one would you be arrested for? The knife and the knuckles. You can carry an AR-15 or a 12-gauge shotgun with you in any of the businesses, in this HEB, Walmart, Cass Real Estate, any of these places, you are legally able to carry a long gun, which is a rifle or a shotgun. So I think that's pretty interesting. Most people don't realize that. But the brass knuckles will get you arrested immediately, and the knife will get you arrested immediately. But you can carry the high-powered rifle. So I thought that's kind of interesting. So here's a picture. A lady has her .45 on her hip in open carry. Two guys are at a fast food restaurant with their AR-15 rifles, and a lady looks like maybe at a Kmart with a 12-gauge shotgun strapped on her back. Today, only the lady with the pistol would be arrested, or could be arrested for open carry, because the law hasn't gone into effect yet. But the other two, totally legal in the state of Texas. It's kind of shocking to a lot of people to realize that. So we're here today to talk about the open carry law, which goes into effect January 1st of 16. And basically what this is if you already have a concealed handgun permit, that means that you can carry in the open now. Okay? Has to be either in a hip holster or a shoulder holster. Okay? That doesn't mean everybody can, if you have to have a permit. Everybody can't just start carrying in the open if you don't have your concealed handgun permit. Come January 1st, it's going to be called license to carry. It's not going to be a concealed handgun permit anymore. It's going to be license to carry. So if I intermix the two, you'll know what I'm talking about today. The states that are shown in blue adhere to our carry law. All those states in blue have reciprocity with the state of Texas, and we can carry in all those states if you have a handgun license. The ones in red, obviously you can't, and Colorado, South Carolina, and Florida only adhere to Texas law. We're the only other state that you can carry in their state. But all those states in blue, you can carry in the United States with the Texas concealed permit. When the concealed handgun permits first came available 20 years ago, I remember, everybody thought there was going to be a mass shooting at every convenience store or road rage incident or whatever. And that never happened with the concealed handgun permit carriers. In 2013, there were almost 51,000 convictions for serious crimes. Of those, less than 0.5% were committed by handgun permit carriers. In Texas in 2013, there were 364 murders by firearms, and 3 of those were committed by concealed handgun license permit. So the point is, most people, 99% of the people that go get their concealed handgun permit are good law-abiding citizens. You know, in every aspect, every job, everywhere, you're going to have 1 or 2 bad apples, and that does happen. But for the most part, you can see that concealed handgun carriers use it for self-defense and for law-abiding purposes. 850,000 concealed handgun carriers in the state of Texas right now. Everybody thinks that Texas is the Wild West and everybody's carrying guns. In Florida, there's over 1.5 million concealed handgun carriers as compared to Texas. So many more in some of the other states. I broke this down by demographics for the last fiscal year that I could get the information for. And which is from 13 to 14, and they issued, in the state, DPS issued 62,000 concealed handgun permits, and I broke it down by demographics to show the races basically of who they were, and that's men and women both. So 62,000 in last year. People who cannot get a concealed handgun permit or a license to carry, the last one is an interesting one. The first ones are pretty much, everybody probably know that. If you have a felony conviction, you're not going to be able to get a license to carry. If you've been arrested for a Class A or B misdemeanor, you have to wait 5 years after the conviction. If you have any pending charges, alcohol dependency, psychological disorders, or anything like that, or if you are have a protective order, restraining order against you. But also, if you owe back taxes or child support or your default on your student loans, you can't get a concealed handgun license or a license to carry. I thought that was kind of interesting. Places restricted where you cannot carry guns no matter if you have a concealed permit or not. Federal buildings, schools, let me touch on that for a minute. In August of 2016, on a 4-year campus, 4-year university, they are going to allow concealed carry only. If you have a license to carry permit, you can carry a firearm, a pistol, on a campus, a 4-year campus. In August of 17, like I said, I didn't write these laws, it's kind of confusing. August of 17, on a 2-year campus, you can also start to carry concealed only, nothing open carry, only concealed on universities. I saw on the news today in California, a guy went into University of California and stabbed 4 of the fellow students with a knife just like that. And so there is a lot of crime that happens on universities. Whether you are in favor of that or you're not in favor of that, that's up to you, but that is the law that's going to go into effect August 1st of 16 and August 1st of 17. Depending on what size college, university you attend. The other ones are pretty normal places where you would think you couldn't carry: correctional facilities, election poll places, racetracks, and obviously even if you have a license to carry, you cannot carry anytime you're intoxicated. So now we'll get to the part regarding the business owners and how this relates to y'all and what y'all have to do. You don't have to take notes. I've already done all this for you. I'm going to give you this handout that's got all the signage and everything that you'll need. Penal Code Section 30.06 is the signage that's required for concealed handgun law. There's two different things that we're going to deal with here. The signage, and the law is very definite on the size of the signage and exactly what must be said, and what's in black must be on the sign. That sign right there means nothing. You can't use that, which I've seen in some buildings, but that means nothing to the concealed handgun law or the license to carry law. So the signs must say exactly what's written in black. Pursuant to Section 30.06 of the Penal Code, trespass by a license holder with a concealed handgun, a person's license under subchapter H, chapter 411 of the Government Code, handgun licensing law, may not enter this property with a concealed handgun. It's got to be exactly the verbiage, and it has to be in English and in Spanish at the entrance to your building, so it's very obvious to the public that that's posted. Is there any questions on that? Yes, ma'am. Yes, and I've got the verbiage right here, but I think they're already making signs like that. But it has to be exactly what the law states. It can't be any deviation from that. I would put it at all entrances, just because if somebody comes in a side door or something and they said, hey, I never saw it, that's going to be, if somebody were to be arrested for something like that, just like a defense to prosecution. Like I never, when I entered the building, I didn't see that. But the law says where anybody entering your building it would be obvious to them that you cannot carry in there. Okay? So the next, that's for concealed carry. This is for open carry. 30.07, it's the exact same rules that apply to it, except the only thing, the verbiage at the bottom is different. May not enter this property with a handgun that is carried openly. I think that Whataburger's already made comment that they're not going to allow open carry in any of their restaurants throughout the state. So, yes, ma'am.
Could we post this for, if we were to allow somebody with open carry to come into our building? What would we have to do to make it where our employees could not?
Where they cannot open carry, post that sign.
So it's one or the other.
Well, maybe I'm not understanding your question.
Well, yeah, can we specifically tell our employees that they cannot come in with weapons, but we can allow the public?
You as a business owner can tell your employees that, sure.
Even though they have rights?
Well, that might raise some issues, but these signs are mainly for public entrance into your buildings. Yes.
And Chief, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but this also goes with churches as well, correct?
The churches that's definitely come up because I've done a couple of talks for churches. Only that applies if the signs are posted. Otherwise, you can carry concealed or open in a. That's exactly right.
So businesses have the option of.
Yes, ma'am, they do. That's why I mentioned Whataburger is a good example.
If we walk down the street and shopping, one may let me come in, the next one.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. But if you carried your AR-15, you can walk in any store. Neither one of those apply to a long gun, which is a shotgun or rifle. That's what's funny about the state is only concerned about handgun carry and not the high-powered rifles or shotguns. Yes, ma'am.
Will a business need to post both?
That's my next slide.
Okay.
That's my next slide. There you go, right there. Yes, so if you do not want concealed or open carry in your business, you have to post both signs, English and Spanish, at your entrances.
So you can do concealed and not open, or open and not concealed?
You can do either one. That's absolutely correct. Yes, ma'am. Just depends on what signs you post. Any other questions so far? Yes, ma'am.
So you were saying that this is all pertaining to the handgun.
Yes, ma'am.
But as business owners, do you have the license to belong?
Sure, you can have anybody leave your store. As a business owner, you can tell anybody, hey, I don't want you carrying that rifle in here. No, ma'am. You just give them verbal knowledge that you want them to leave the store, and if they don't, then they can be arrested for criminal trespass. Okay. So it's very important both signs have to be posted if you don't want any handguns in your businesses. Okay. This is another topic that I get asked when I do these talks is the Castle Doctrine. And the point I want to make on this is that you as a citizen have the right to defend yourself. If you have the right to be in a place in your house or your car or your business, you have the right to defend yourself and not retreat. There used to be some debate about that long ago. You don't have to retreat at all. If you feel like that you're in immediate danger, you have the right to use deadly force to defend yourself or a third person. Okay? I'll make that real clear on that. Y'all have any questions on that? Because that's a... Are the what, ma'am?
Green card holders?
Green card holder. If you're in the country legally, then obviously you have the right to defend yourself, just like any other U.S. citizen. Yes?
Does the Castle Doctrine, because it includes your vehicles on like school grounds or places where it's prohibited to carry as long as they're in their vehicle?
If you're not allowed to have a handgun on the premises, then you shouldn't. Like in a school. Let me make a comment on that. I graduated high school in 1983. That's why I have all this gray hair and all these stripes here. This means that, okay. So in 1983, we would come to school with our shotguns and our deer rifles in our gun racks in the back of our trucks, and the coaches would come out and say, "Hey man, let me see your new rifle or shotgun, whatever it is." That's how much things have changed now. There would be a SWAT team called out if that were to occur today. You know what I'm saying? That's how things have changed. But to your question is, so you're saying if you word it again for me?
If there was like a parent picking up their child
Mm-hmm.
and they had Is that protected under?
Well, you're not supposed to have a weapon on the school premises, so that's an issue. Okay, but
The castle.
well, exactly, a little bit on that nature. But if you're at HEB parking lot or the Walmart parking lot and somebody comes to carjack you, then you're good to go. But that would be an issue if you're on school property with a handgun, because you're not supposed to have that there anyway. But if it came down, to be honest with you, if it came down to me having to protect myself from my kids, yeah, okay, there you go. All right, Judge, I'll skip that. Go. You can either way. You don't have to. You can any place that you are legally located, like in like I said, HEB parking lot, your house, where you have the right to defend yourself at any time. You don't have to retreat. You can defend yourself. The Castle Doctrine, most people relate that to their house because they consider it their castle or whatever, but it pertains to your car or wherever you're at legally.
But in your castle, your house, you don't need to have a concealed carry.
Absolutely right.
You can own a gun.
Absolutely right.
And not need, does that transfer the same in the car?
That's my next slide. You are so good. You're just like a mind reader. Okay.
Condominium.
It's the same, ma'am. If you own that, that's I live in an apartment complex. It's the same. You have the right to defend yourself in wherever you live.
On the grounds, if you're in a gated one.
You have the right to defend yourself at any time against deadly force or or defend a third person. Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry, random question. Opposite of what that lady was saying,
Mm-hmm.
Is there a way, if you have the sign up, are you still allowed to allow your employees to conceal carry in the building if that sign is posted? Sorry.
The question is, if you have posted in your business for if you have 3006 and 3007 posted, but you want to, for the public, but you want to allow your employees to carry, I'm going to go with that's a gray area. That's what I'm going to tell you right now. Because there is, in addition to that gray area, there's also the gray area if we have the right as police to go and contact somebody that's carrying open carry. Originally, in the original law, they said that we couldn't do that. Well, they took that out, but there's still some debate. If the state allows it and the Constitution says you can open carry, then what right do we have to go and ask? But we do, and we will. Because in actuality, if you're open carrying, you're committing a violation of the Penal Code, Section 46, unless you have your license. Unless we know you have a license, then you're, exactly. So that's what we're basing that on, that we can, if we need to, contact a person and confirm that they do have their license to carry. Yes, sir.
Not to delay your presentation, but can we back up just a second, back to the school property issue?
Yes.
We were told from TASBO, which is Texas Association of School Districts,
Uh-huh.
that we had to take down all of our 1306 signage in our parking lots. And I understand from our attorney and from what TASBO is telling us that you can carry on school premises now.
In your vehicle?
Carry
In the building? Okay. What?
Am I mistaken?
No, I'll go with that, but let me explain something. There is some definite gray area in this, because it hasn't even gone into effect yet. And there will be some gray area until somebody's arrested and it goes to court and they appeal it up to. So there are several gray areas on this. But I had heard that also, and we just talked about that when I met with the principals about a month ago.
That was one of the reasons why I came, to try to figure out exactly where we are.
Exactly. Just not in the buildings, but in the parking lot. Okay. So since you jumped ahead, I'll jump ahead. So I am definitely asked about this as far as not being a licensed carry, a concealed handgun license, or a license to carry person, if you can carry a gun in your vehicle. And the answer is yes, if you meet these three critical qualifiers. The weapon must be concealed in the vehicle. You can't be engaged in criminal activity other than a Class C misdemeanor like speeding or something like that. And you cannot be a member of a gang. You can't be involved in gang activity. Other than that, you can carry it in your vehicle, in your boat, but it's got to be concealed.
Does that translate if you go visiting and drive and go across state lines? Is that pretty much?
I'm not going to talk about another state on that point, because if you are not a licensed carrier and you're going into a state that doesn't have reciprocity with our state, I would be very cautious of that.
The idea is not necessarily.
Going into another state. I'm talking only Texas. Can't really discuss Louisiana or somewhere else. Yes, ma'am.
I have a question. So if people are allowed to carry guns in their car, how does that affect you guys when you stop somebody?
Well,
You don't know if they have a gun in their car or not.
exactly.
How is your safety protected?
Well, as long as they don't go for the gun, they're going to be safe. But it doesn't, look, they can carry it there legally, and if they're not doing anything illegal with it, and we're not going to get into the vehicle, if we don't have probable cause, reasonable suspicion to get in the vehicle to search it, we don't care. Just don't come out in a manner that's going to cause us to engage you in a way that you probably wouldn't want us to. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, don't do that. And you don't even have to tell us that it's in the vehicle, unless you want to. It's really, you have the right to have it in there, and it's not our concern. Unless you're a convicted felon, then that could be an issue.
But you still know if you're pulling a concealed handgun license permit.
You have to, if you have a concealed handgun permit or a license to carry here soon, and you're stopped, you're required to produce your driver's license and your permit to carry. And then the officers are going to ask. Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I don't mind stopping people at all. I like those people that have permits, because if myself or one of our officers was in a bind out there was nobody else out there, I'm sure that somebody's going to come along, especially if you have a concealed permit. You're that type of person that's going to come and help. So I'm all for it. How many people in here have concealed permits? I love it. Look at that. Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. So anyway, so that's just the point I'm trying to make. And most police officers like that. People who, they're good law-abiding citizens that if we need help, they're there to help us as well. So I always like to end any talk that I do when I was talking to the realtors or whoever it might be, to be observant and vigilant. And what I mean by that is, I know a lot of people who don't even watch the news because they don't want to know the bad things that are going on out there in the world, okay? The fact is that we do live in a violent, mean world at times, okay? And bad things happen to good people, okay? And I'm not saying that you have to be on red alert all the time, but that real dark green where nothing concerns you and you're just driving around being totally non-observant to your surroundings, I wouldn't be like that either at all. My point is, if you go to another city, I won't name a city, but if you go to another city and you pull into a convenience store, just be observant, because you wouldn't want to pull up to a carload of gangsters sitting next to you and put yourself in an awkward position or put yourself in a position to have to deal with them or have them harass you or something like that. Be observant of your surroundings, okay? Don't walk around with your head in the clouds or your head in the sand. Be observant to what's going on around you at all times. But like I said, you don't have to be stressed out on red alert, but I definitely wouldn't be on this green alert always. Just be cautious of your surroundings, and if you do see something suspicious, if it's suspicious to you, call the police. If it's a person or a vehicle, if you're thinking in your mind, man, that does look kind of weird, but I don't want to call the police department because they're too busy handling all these other calls or anything. That's not accurate at all. Call us, because y'all are another set of eyes for us. And when you see the suspicious activity, a lot of times you've spotted the burglars that we haven't found yet that have been burglarizing vehicles or residences or whatever it might be, and y'all are giving us that chance to make contact with them and to clear up a lot of cases. So if it's suspicious to you, don't hesitate to call the police department. Okay? Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
Just talk a little about alcohol and the law.
Which part? That's a very vast subject. I could talk all day on
Yeah, alcohol and guns.
alcohol and guns. If you are a permit holder, you cannot possess a gun while you're intoxicated. You will definitely be arrested for that. DWI, public intoxication, whatever the case might be, you'll be arrested. So my point is, if you are carrying concealed or in the open here come January, you need to be very cautious of drinking and coming out in the public, because that could definitely cause you some issues.
So you can't have open carry in a bar?
No, ma'am. If the premises sells, if their gross income is 51% or greater from alcohol sales, you cannot carry in that location.
What if it's complimentary alcohol?
51% or more, you're good to go. Yes, sir.
The ones of us that have CHLs now, what are we gonna have for January?
Nothing. Nothing.
Will be issued a CHL, open carry, or how's it gonna read?
What I've read on that law is that you don't have to do anything different. The training that's going to start after January 1st of 16, they're going to add a couple of new additions to it. But if you are already a concealed handgun permit carrier, you don't have to do anything different. Just renew your license in the fourth year, fifth year, in the fifth year, and that's all you have to do. But just know, if you go to open carry, it's got to be in a shoulder holster or a hip holster. And to be honest with you, I don't think there's going to be that much open carry. I'm being totally honest with you, because most people that I've spoke to that can carry concealed, they don't want people to know that they're carrying a gun. You know, they want to be able to react to a situation and without that being known. So I just don't think, in 31 years of being a police officer, I have never gone to any public store, Walmart, or H-E-B, or anywhere where somebody is carrying an AR-15 rifle or a shotgun over their shoulder. It just hasn't happened. But the fact is, you could have all these years, but nobody does that. Or I'm not saying nobody. Very few people do that, because we do see some people that want to push the issue that would do that. But that's just a very uncommon situation to occur. And I've talked to all the guys at the police department. They've never encountered that really either. I guess we did encounter somebody up on one of the local streets here that was trying to antagonize. I think some of those people just do that in an antagonizing way to try to get the police to react. But we know what the laws are. We're not going to.
And Chief, it'll probably be a novelty thing too. When the law first changes in January.
It will be for the first couple of months.
Guess what? Very good.
Exactly.
And then the novelty will wear off, and then they'll go back.
Or they're going to walk into Walmart and people are going to stare at them like, really? And they're going to think, okay, maybe this wasn't such a cool thing to do. I'm going to, put it, conceal it again, and nobody's going to know in the least. Yes, sir.
You mentioned the restrictions on officials, shoulder or hip.
Yes, sir.
Are there any restrictions on the rifle,
No, sir.
how they carry it,
No, sir.
swing it over the
Sling it, carry it, whatever you want to do. Yes, sir. As long as it's a legal shotgun or rifle, it's not a short-barreled weapon or anything. As long as it's illegal, you can carry it however you want.
Is there because I know local ordinances sometimes can specify whether or not they can be loaded, chamber open.
You know what I heard? I just heard this a couple of days ago, that San Antonio, and don't quote me on this, I'm just saying this is, because I haven't read this yet, but I did hear from some other officers that San Antonio addressed this issue, and they said, okay, yeah, you can carry your rifle or shotgun, but you can't carry it loaded in the city. So then, they might have more of an issue with that than we do here.
No local ordinance in Portland.
No, sir. It's just not an issue here. It's a non-issue. Yes, ma'am. To push for open carry? I talked that about, my boss and I talked about that yesterday. And, I think one of the things is that you'd have somebody at a store, at Walmart or whatever, and has his weapon concealed, and he reaches up to get something, and somebody sees that and freaks out or reports that. And it's not that the guy meant to show it to the public, but that is a violation of the law if you're carrying concealed and you open it to the public and the public views that. So, like I said, I really don't think I think it's like the judge said. It might be a big flare up at the beginning, but then after a while, like I said, when people are not going to want to see that as much in the public as what some other people might think. You know, it's going to make people nervous. Yes, you don't have to carry it open. It's just saying that you could carry it open. And that's what we were just saying. It might be a big flare up at the beginning because it's cool and you can do it now, but I think after a while it's not. I just don't think it's going to be a real issue. Now, for the businesses that don't want that, the signage is very important because and I've got copies of it, like I said, but that's very important to keep those people out that are carrying in the open if you don't want that. Yes, sir.
Back to the knives, is there a certain length?
5.5 inches on the blade. Anything over 5.5 inches makes it illegal. Any other questions? I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you all today. And like I said, if put out a lot of information, but just stay vigilant and aware of your surroundings. If you don't take anything away from this other than that, stay aware of your surroundings. Yes, ma'am. Okay.
One is, will you put possibly this presentation on your city website where citizens can go and maybe look at it and read over it?
It's being filmed right now to do that.
Are y'all going to offer the citizens of Portland a concealed handgun class?
We have no intention of doing that. I think there's places in Corpus that offer that, but the city is not going to put that out. Sure. Sure. So the one thing we needed to clarify on was the school property. You can have it in your vehicle, but just not in the buildings. I want to clarify that one.
Is that certain? Because we work for a school and we're still a gun-free zone. So, I mean, I'm going to enforce it.
Exactly. And so we got a conflict on that. We had a conflict when we talked about it a month ago. Your attorneys were from Austin saying that they could, and
Well, yeah, Dr. Moore, my understanding, he had a conversation with Dr. Cruz,
Part of like the school marshal program.
well, out of all the information that we've given out, that's one thing that we'll sit down and confirm about, because that is an issue that needs to be clarified for sure. Yes, ma'am.
Karen mentioned the classes. We've had those here in Portland in my office before and can't have them again.
Sure, you can have them there. It's just not, the city's not going to sponsor that, but you can have them here for sure.
Chief, from what I understand on the school is, as long as you stay in your vehicle, in the parking lot, to pick your child up, you're good. But once you step out of that vehicle and leave that pistol in there, that's when you're in violation. That's what I understood.
Well, that's one thing that I will get clarification on, because obviously we're having other than the school issue, I think we've got this thing pretty well under control and pretty well whipped. Unless anybody's got some other questions on this.
The four-year university thing for next summer.
August?
Texas.
Yes, ma'am.
Texas.
Mhm.
They were all talking Texas.
August 1st of 16. Yes, ma'am.
And I will take these questions back to Representative Lozano. We'll have our chief of staff find out the answers to these questions for you.
Sure, I appreciate that.
You forget I have a direct line.
Well, other than getting that one item clarified, is there any other questions that y'all have on open carry, concealed carry, Castle Doctrine, carrying in your vehicle, being observant and vigilant at all times?
Years ago, I heard a thing about when you travel over 2 counties.
Yeah, that went away.
All that.
Yes, ma'am. That went away years ago.
Was that before the concealed carry?
That went away a long time ago.
Okay.
You have to prove that you were traveling more than 2 counties and all this. Yeah, that's.
That's long gone.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Well, I appreciate the time. If y'all have any other questions, thank y'all for allowing me to talk on this topic, and hopefully, improve your knowledge on this. And if you have any other questions, I've got my phone number, email address, and here's the packages that have all the information y'all will need. Thank y'all very much.
Thank you very much.
Sure.